Well, here we go. Um, I'm doing this tonight. I haven't gone live in a while because been busy, moved, got things set up, and just been working pretty hard. Got a new role at work, so I've been slightly bit busy with some other things. But tonight, I really wanted to come on here because I'm only talking one subject right now. I I've talked coaching a lot, emphatically talked coaching a lot, going through the coaching carousel, talking about collegiate coaches, talking about coaching in general. Now, I'm not a polished individual. I get that. However, something came out over the last couple of days regarding Deion Sanders defending his son in a Twitter argument with a former player, and it bothers me because of the accounts that are portraying Deion Sanders. Now, Deion Sanders is one of the most prolific, notable sports figures in all sports. He played in the NFL, he played in Major League Baseball, only one to do both, besides Bo Jackson. Played in the World Series and the Super Bowl, only one to do that. He's in the Hall of Fame. He is one of the greatest corners of all time, one of the greatest returners of all time. He's an incredibly charismatic individual. He had a great couple years at the HBCU which he was at. It just slips my mind where he was. He goes to Colorado, and instantly there is this bravado regarding Colorado as top 25 team. This is a team that's won like 3 games in like 6 years. This is not a good football team. But he brought with him his son, Shadur, his other son as well. He brought with him Travis Hunter, number one player in the country that chose first number one ranked recruit to choose an HBCU, a historically black college and university, as a place to play college football because of Deion Sanders. Now, Deion talks all the time about his faith, how he's molding these boys into men, all this stuff. I can't stand it. I physically can't stand hearing him talk because of what comes out afterwards. He sits there and he talks about he doesn't do in-home recruiting. He goes after the transfer portal. He comes in and says, your job's not safe. Your job's not safe. He is treating the 18, 19, 20-year-olds differently than other coaches have, which, okay, fine. You're shaking things up a bit. And sorry about that. I'm trying to buy a washer. Hopefully I can do it on Saturday. Anyway, train of thought lost. Deion is coaching 18, 19, 20-year-olds. He is not recruiting heavily. He is not bringing in the 18-year-olds. He is not going after high school kids. He is looking for the second and third year college player who wants to get out of their system and into something else. I don't believe that is the best way to recruit and how to build a college football team, how to build a program. This isn't Madden where you can go out and flip players day in and day out, week in, week out, year in and year out. You can't do that in college football. You just can't. It's not a matter of it's just not a matter of doing the right thing. Like, that is not, it's doing a disservice to those kids. I've always been one, don't pay the players. They get a scholarship, they get an education that will drive them to make a significant amount of money more than the average person will. I've always been in the camp of not paying college players. I believe I wrote a paper of it back in the day in college. It really bogs me down. It really blows my mind. It bogs me down. This conceptually what Deion Sanders is doing in Colorado. Now, earlier this offseason, he already made a boneheaded thing with the draft coming up. Everybody talks with the draft about Eli Manning and what Eli Manning did to San Diego and said, I'm not playing there. I don't want to play with you. I'm not going to San Diego. So San Diego traded the pick with the Chargers. So San Diego selected Eli Manning, but then they traded him when the Giants selected Philip Rivers. They traded. It's fine. Now, there have been notions of this before where players, baseball, it happens quite a bit in baseball, where the number one, number two overall pick will not sign with the team and choose to go back to college or to go play professionally in like Japan for a year and then come and re-enter the draft. Understandable. He came out and said that his son and Travis Hunter are not playing in cold weather areas because that's not where the dogs are. That's not where the football being played. Minnesota's not going to have the number one pick. Green Bay's not going to have the number one pick. Chicago just got Caleb Williams, and they're going to be a great team. Detroit isn't going to pick highly in the draft. New England got their guy in Drake May. The Giants might be the only team that would be picking towards the top that would take Shedeur Sanders. Maybe the Jets. So it's in New York, but New York is New York. So that would be a pitching point, not the weather. DC got their guy in Jaden Daniels. He came out and said this, and it made him look stupid. I don't care at this point. If Mr. Sanders, if you watch this, I highly doubt that you will, but if you do, that was a dumb thing to do. But now, hearing these reports that he isn't in home recruiting, that he's not recruiting high school kids, that is how you build your program. You get the best 18, 19, and 20-year-olds in the country to play for you. You get them at 18. You have you have a rough year. They get better. Their sophomore year, their second year, they get better. You bring in more talent behind them. You get younger talent, and your team gets young, but you find that quarterback to build, that freshman quarterback to build on. And then you build your program along that quarterback. Your quarterback's leaving. Who do you have behind him? You don't have anybody. But now, all this junk about these kids leaving, there are people storming Colorado to play there. There's an exodus going to Colorado. But now, after the season, there's a huge mass amount, an exodus of people, again, turning around and leaving through the transfer portal. You've had 5-star recruits saying, no thanks, because of the culture. As a human resources professional in my daytime lifetime, culture is important. And it's not just, woo, we're going to play ping pong all day. Woo, we're going to have fun. What is the culture at Colorado? It's not a winning program. So if I'm a 4-star or a 5-star recruit if I'm a 4-star, 5-star lineman, and I receive interest from Colorado and Wisconsin, okay. First of all, I'm looking at as a lineman. Wisconsin has pedigree. Wisconsin has the pedigree. Wisconsin has a history behind it of developing NFL caliber linemen. Tyler Biadasz, Travis Frederick, a couple centers, one of the greatest offensive tackles of all time, Joe Thomas from Wisconsin. You look at that and you're like, all right, what does Colorado offer? Who's Colorado's greatest recruit, greatest football player? Cordell Stewart? From the early 90s, Cordell Stewart? There's no tradition. There's no tradition within Colorado. If Deion's trying to implement culture, he's not doing a good job of it. Because if my son was playing at Colorado, I would be listening to other teams. I'd be listening to other organizations, other universities, and seeing what they can offer my son in the terms of educationally, and then as well as his passion to play collegiate football. And I think a lot of parents are seeing that. It's like, great, Deion sold out the spring game. This year, half showed up. Half. I cannot extend this out that much. To basically say that Deion Sanders is going to single-handedly destroy his coaching career because of the love he has for his son. I get it. I'm a father. I have two boys. I'd do anything for that. I'd stand up. I'd stand up against the tallest wave, against the highest mountain to protect those boys. But there are moments where you just have to not be LeVar Ball. But LeVar Ball was right, though. Like, you have to, as a parent, separate yourself from parent and coach. And then your comments afterwards is, you were bored. If you're that bored and you cannot create an offensive game plan to beat Oregon State, you're not creating offensive game plans. You're not creating a defensive game plan. What are you doing with your time? And now, as an administrator of Colorado, I'm wondering, did we bring in the right coach to turn around a fledgling collegiate football program that has not been relevant for decades? We get Deion Sanders, and it's great. Pumping in the money. We sell out season tickets. Additional revenue, TV money, all that stuff. But what is it costing? What is it costing the University of Colorado at Boulder to have Deion Sanders as its leader, as its figurehead of his football team? You know, being in Wisconsin, you look at the Wisconsin program, and then you look at Luke Fickell. Luke Fickell is not engaging with former players on Twitter. It's not the Wisconsin way. What is the Colorado way? What does Colorado want to be known for when it comes to football, athletics? What does Colorado want to be known for? They have one-off teams, like they'll have a great basketball year. They'll win like 20 games. You know, they'll go 20-12 in a season and make the tournament and lose in the first round. I don't know what conference they're bumping into. I think they're going back to the Big 12. Again, I didn't do a lot of research on this tonight. I'm just very frustrated because when I saw that he said he was bored, that to me is an issue. Because as a HR professional, if I told my boss I'm bored, two things are happening. Either I'm getting reassigned or I'm getting fired. One of the two. You never tell anybody that you're bored at work. You know, tell your friends after a few days, be like, I was bored, wrote a book. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, but you don't say you're bored and then you're going on Twitter and attacking former players because they said Shadur Sanders does not have leadership abilities or whatever he said. Shadur Sanders is being propped up as the second coming of somebody. I don't see it. He played very well his first 2 years in school. He did okay last year. Got hurt. I don't think he will be a game changer. I haven't done a lot in regards to the current state of the NFL. I'll probably have to get on in the next couple days and really dive into the current state of the NFL. At this moment, though, however, talking strictly Deion Sanders and Colorado football, do I want to spend an hour on Deion Sanders? No, I got better things to do. But it needs to be said. It needs to be listened to. On Instagram, I gave some guy called me an AI robot, a PR robot. Here's the thing. As a marketing individual, as a professional in the workplace, I do a lot of things by the book. I just really, really believe that if you're the head coach of a collegiate football team, a big-time program, a Power 5 team, you should not be on Twitter talking shit to former players. That's literally like you leaving a job, talking shit about the company, and the company being like, well, you weren't that good to begin with. Okay. Good look, Colorado. Good look, Deion. It's just a very bad look. And that's the point I want to get across. It's just not a good look. Now, this is 2 takes from Deion in the last 6 months that just make no sense. That they do not give anything to Colorado. Does not give Colorado this opportunity to be potentially a great place where kids want to go play football. Deion's shooting himself in the foot, and it's really, really frustrating to see that, to hear that from a guy that tons of charisma, but going back to when he worked for the NFL Network and his comments that he made, he's very negative. He's a very, he is super uplifting in things, but he's also incredibly negative. He doesn't give opportunity to a lot of people. If you're not a dog, again, he doesn't believe in captains. He believes in dog, like these stupid monikers to give the leaders on his team. Don't understand it. Won't recruit anybody from outside of Texas or Florida. Missing out on incredible talent throughout the country. Missing out. But he's not even recruiting in Texas. He's not even recruiting in Florida. It's summertime. You need to get out to the camps. You need to find talent, young high school talent that you want to nurture and grow, that you will bring to Colorado and help Colorado develop a incredible culture and incredible opportunity to win. I just have a very hard time with how Deion is attempting to build this culture at Colorado. I don't think it's a winning culture. I don't think he will win games at Colorado. He won 4 games last year. 4. God, Wisconsin's worst year was 8 or 7. Like, and that's in the last 30 years. I don't thoroughly understand how anybody can get behind Colorado at this point. They have a lot. They have a lot that they need to fix. And I believe it starts with Deion. I believe you give him an opportunity to turn this around and have a scandal-free year, to not have people get their chains stolen at a game or whatever happened before. I think Deion needs to have a scandal-free 2024-2025 season to allow the donors, the individuals who are very invested into Colorado, to see that this is moving in a direction that is positive. Deion's costing a lot of money. They had to get half his salary for him. I just don't believe he is really worth the time and energy and the effort as a football coach. Now, Kalen DeBoer of Alabama, football coach. Nick Saban, football coach. I love Charlie Strong when he was in Texas, but Charlie Strong didn't get an opportunity. I love Charlie Strong. There are coaches who dip out and leave teams in a bind. John Calipari did the same thing. I just don't get it. I want to believe that there are individuals, there are coaches that want to take 18 and 19-year-olds, mold them into men, and make them incredible athletes and make them incredible people. I have a hard time believing that's Deion Sanders. I just have a hard time with it. Like, you can have all the charisma in the world, and sometimes you're faking it so people can overlook your shortcomings. I don't believe he knows how to build an offense, to build a defense that can create havoc, create turnovers on the defensive side. One of the greatest turnover guys in NFL history. I don't doubt his playmaking ability, and I don't doubt his football knowledge. I don't. I doubt his commitment to making the team better outside of, hey, you played for 3 years, want to come play here? You can't stack one and dones and expect to win. You see it in college basketball. It's happening with Duke. Duke will win 24 games, go 24-9, and then they have to bring in a boatload of talent. Kentucky, same thing. That amount of talent that comes in year after year that has to learn the playbook and learn the culture of the program, it's a lot to take in. And bringing in these transfers, I don't know how many analysts and commentators really know what goes on when a kid is transferring schools. Like, I, it's a big deal going to college. It's a big deal selecting the college that you want to go to. That in your head, that's the next 4 years, 3 years if you're incredibly motivated to get through school. You can go through 3 year, get your 4 year degree in 3 years. You can do that. I enjoyed the day of where graduate transfers happened. The biggest one I can think of, Russell Wilson. He was freshman of the year in the ACC with North Carolina State. Held multiple North Carolina State passing records, multiple, and then got his degree, but he still had a year of eligibility left because he played as a freshman because he was freshman of the year. So his fifth year of school, he was a graduate school, and so he graduate transferred to Wisconsin, and he was able to play right away. I love that rule, and I believe that rule benefits college football greater than college basketball. College basketball, a 21-year-old can compete in the NBA. A 20-year-old can compete in the NBA. The NFL, a 20-year-old cannot compete. The game is too big. The game is too fast. Just can't happen. Deion Sanders is looking for all the 22 and 23-year-olds to take its team. He wants to take guys that understand the game probably at a higher level. Supposedly, this is my thought on why he's doing it the way he's doing it. And as to why he is building the foundation of the team the way he is. It's just, I just think there is a better opportunity available for these college kids than going to Colorado. They would be better off going to Troy State, Southern Illinois, and really showing what they got. Like, Deion might give them a high profile and he might give you a platform, but where do you want to play football at? Like, these MAC kids trying to go to Colorado after a year. You weren't good enough a year ago, and now you think you are. NIL is single-handedly destroying college football and college basketball. I've talked about the NIL briefly, and Deion Sanders and the NIL are really two topics that are really intertwined because Deion brings in NIL money, name and likeness money. Now, if players want to get paid, okay, there are high school kids right now throughout the country who would give anything to have the opportunity to play college football. I was close. I was almost one of those kids. I probably could have if I really wanted to, but I know it would have been at a small school. It wouldn't have been for money. It would have been because I love football. And that's what's always put college football above everybody else is the love of the game. But Jaden Daniels played 3 years at Arizona State. He was throwing balls to Brandon Ayuk. Ayuk, one of my favorite NFL players. Love Ayuk. A lot of fantasy talk about Ayuk, but if he gets traded or not before training camp opens up. Before like June 1st deadline or something, which is right around the corner. Played 3 years and then he transferred to LSU for the last 2. Good for him. Good for him. We're still in the COVID era to where athletes' eligibility is affected because they still have a COVID year. Carter Starachi, he's a collegiate wrestler, will have an opportunity to be a 5-time national champion because of the COVID year. He's getting an extra year of eligibility because of COVID. Now, you came on this, I'm talking Deion Sanders, and you're like, Nate, why are you talking about Carter Starachi and collegiate wrestling? Name of the show is right here, Real Deal in Sports. It's a very heavy Deion Sanders night because Deion Sanders is continuing to say stupid thing after stupid thing, and I cannot tolerate it anymore. I'm not going to much too much longer on it. That was essentially, I end majority of the programs with What's the Deal. This has been a real deal in sports. What's the deal with Deion Sanders? That has been the vibe of this brief little stream tonight. Had to get off my chest. Again, I was called an AI PR puppet by somebody who was an ABCDEF 1 2 3 4 5, like with no picture on his Instagram. Who's the bot now? What I'll end with on Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders, charismatic, leader, whatever you want to call it. I don't think his intentions are as pure as what he plays them out to be. I believe it's a fake it till you make it with Deion because he does not have a track record of building an athlete, building a professional football player. You know who does? Paul Christ. He's put NFL guys in there. PJ Fleck. We got a couple guys rowing the boat out of Minnesota who've played collegiate football. You look at some of these schools that are producing top-notch NFL talent. A lot of it, Nick Saban, Alabama. It's great, but Josh Heupel down in Tennessee. Gus Malzahn down in UCF. There are great football coaches out there that Kalen DeBoer. There are so many talented collegiate football coaches that get overshadowed because Deion is so loud, so charismatic. He has a platform from when he was a TV personality. Now, again, I'm using that term. He was a TV personality. And then he started coaching at a small Division I school, Division 1A school. Had an opportunity to go to Division I school in Colorado. Through 3 games, they're like, oh, let's get Deion down somewhere, replace him in the NFL. If I was playing for Deion as an adult, as a guy getting paid tens of $1 million, and he starts pulling that shit and he says he's bored, it's like, how are you helping me make more money and be successful? And if I was in college, I'd be asking the same question. What are you doing, Deion Sanders, to help me get better at my position? How are you helping me to become more marketable, to be able to get more NIL money, to provide for myself at 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and how I can help provide for my family? There are so many stories and so many people out there in this world that struggle and do things like that. So much struggle throughout the world, and Deion, I don't think he preys on it. Not prey, not God, but prey like a predator. I don't know if he's a predator with it or not, but he tends to really take things to an extra level that I just am not the biggest fan of. If you want to say I'm drinking the haterade, fine. I'm drinking the haterade. I don't see any other collegiate coach with a platform like Deion Sanders and coming out, bashing former players, sticking up for children, his child. That was the argument that was given. Oh, he's standing up for his son. I'm a father. I'm a dad. I'd move mountains for my kids. Move mountains for them. There's a time and a place to defend your child, to defend your son. There is a time and a place to do it. Not on Twitter and not against a former player. I said this in my replies on Instagram today, and I'll stand by it. How is Deion Sanders going to react when there are NFL scouts who have been scouting football for decades and they say Shadur has a really bad arm slot? His footwork needs help, and yet he doesn't make the correct read. He wants to force the ball in situations that don't make sense. Again, this is not true. This is just what happens if a scout says that to Deion Sanders and Deion goes, "You're wrong. My son's the best." Okay, that's a response from a parent, not from a coach, not from a NFL front office official. And if you're in the NFL front office, you know, I imagine the amount of work the Bears did on Caleb Williams to make sure that his father wasn't going to say anything stupid. Because again, with Caleb Williams earlier this year, The rumor was that he wanted an ownership stake of the team. NFL bylaws state that it can't be that way. People done lost their mind because they think because they're great for a moment, they can do whatever they want. As we wrap this up, very special one, a real deal in sports. Essentially, a half hour of what's the deal with Deion Sanders. My name is Nate Deal. Of course, I am the real deal in sports. As we've been spinning along today, check out the YouTube, Real Deal in Sports. Make sure you hit us on the email at therealdealinsports@gmail.com. Shoot us an email if you have any questions that you'd like to get to at some point. We'll do a mailbag. On the X at the TRDS show. Make sure you hit that up as well. And also, you're watching us on Twitch, twitch.tv/TRDS show. And now we're back to the beginning. Those are the medias where you can catch us at. Make sure, if you enjoy the content, drop comments. I want to engage. Let's see what we can have, if we can have a discussion regarding Deion Sanders. Who knows? But that's all for me tonight, and